We're gonna get started here in a minute. Let the room fill in. This is the Novo Virtual Weekend if you're watching live. All right. Welcome all my alien pigs and zombies. You're live. That is the Novoverse. I'm going to close that down so the streaming runs at full capacity here. But you can find that just right in my bio down there. It says Novoverse equals play Decentraland. It is on Decentraland. You can get Avatar X filter like you're looking right here. But we have a friend that has a while back and always doing kind of the showing what's out there in the world, for better or worse. But it's important to document these things and to get that documentation out there to people that want to see it. And it started with COVID back in the day for a lot of us in this NFT space, and some of the year's best photography has been documented through that, and all the way from Turkey, where it's morning for us here in Chicago, but it's getting mid to afternoon for you. And I just want to welcome you back to the show because of one of the lovely art that you're bringing through photography here in the NFT space, but also showing the importance of exposing what's out there in the world. And sometimes it's not the best of light to expose it, but it needs to be seen. So a little bit about yourself, and yeah, go for it. Take the mic.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, it's nice to be here again after a while. My English is not so good, so please forgive my English. I'm a Turkish photographer and taking photos for almost 12 years. I'm a travel and documentary photographer. I won many prestigious awards before all over the world. I was winner of National Geographic Travel Photography Contest. Also, I was chosen as IPA International Photography Awards as of year, and so many awards. Best reportage photographer for 25 awards, etc., etc. And I'm still contributor photographer for National Geographic Yorshat and National Geographic Turkey. With my travel photos, I wanted tell the stories of people and cities I see and I visited. Because with technology and with time, many things are changing, and in my opinion, we should take their photos in a good way, and also tell the stories of the people there, because as a photographer, we don't have music, we don't have words, we just have frames, and we should frame and capture and tell all story with our photos. Also, as a documentary photographer, I believe myself has responsibilities, because photography has a power, and we should take attention to important issues of society. Photographers are the eye of people who aren't there actually, and we are writing the history with our photos, especially with our documentary photos. When we look at the photographic history, we just remember documentary photos, not landscape, not street photos, or etc. I love all genders. Documentary photography is a way of writing history. That's why I I work with cancer patients, attention to early diagnosis, and also I was in epicenter of COVID-19 in the beginning of COVID. After 2 months, I was in hospital. I was in intensive care unit. I stayed there for 1 month. I risked my life. I risked my children's life. There was no vaccine. There was no medicine at that time. Uh, but I documented it because uh, after World War II, nothing affected whole world like COVID. It was actually a war, and this time the war was not on field. The war was on the hospitals, and I risk my all and go there to document all these periods to show the others what's happening in the hospitals. And after 100 years, when all the people who experienced this period died, these will live and write the history, be the part of history. So, in my opinion, we have so many responsibilities and as a documentary photographer, I am trying to do my responsibilities.
You do a great job of that. And I know you alluded, sorry for if your English isn't that great, wonderful. And I know that NFTs are the international language for anything. So you can tell stories through your pictures like you've been documenting here, you know, the tiredness and the stress of this. And one thing that people need to understand is when you were doing this, this was like in the beginning of all of this. Like we didn't know what was happening with anything. Like we didn't even know what different strands were. It was just all just like you're saying in the forefront of the war against against an enemy which can't be seen and has no borders. And you're
Yes.
able to hear that, but then also see the accolades of, you know, triumph and people getting released, like this picture right here, where people are able to get the help needed and get back into the real world of things after, you know, maybe living through a pretty horrible experience here. And being able to, you know, see the reality as well. And being able to bring it to the forefront. So you're able to use your years of experience through documenting things through National Geographics. And it's the exact same way here. And nothing changes. And it's about telling the stories of it. If it's through cancer patients, if it's through the epicenter of COVID, if it's through whatever denomination, because these are stories of normal people. And unfortunately, there might not be the best images to see, but they are reality, you know.
Yes, yes. This is the actual power of photography. Many people want to see good-looking photos, and in NFT market, good-looking photos are sell so much. I have good-looking photos because I'm also a travel photographer. You know my photos in my OpenSea account, but also there is a reality too, and photographers should show that realities, should document that realities because we are the eye of people who are not there.
Speaking of eyes, I'm looking at lending eyes of a bird right now. It shows the range in your skill, you know, and how you are very diverse in what you can create images from either natural landscapes, natural lighting, which I'm seeing in a lot of these, using black and white photos, using color in your photos. And there's only two left here in this
Yeah,
open sea one. So
actually, after making a space with you, I think I, my Genesis collection was on OpenSea. After sold out with my Genesis collection in 10 days, then my second collection was featured on homepage of OpenSea. It was a great surprise, and after being featured there, my second collection sold out in 15 minutes. And yes, now my third collection is here, and only just two pieces left.
wow. I mean, that's where that smile's coming from. I mean, great success there. And I remember having you on and like we clicked on OpenSea like that morning when you were coming on the on this very same show. And your picture was there, and my mouth dropped. And you're like, I don't think you had any clue idea either that it was, you knew that it was going to be on the cover of it, but you didn't know it was going to be that particular day. And that was just jaw
Actually,
dropping for me.
it was a funny story. Let me tell you. there was some hacking problems on OpenSea at that times because of
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember. Yeah.
migrations. And I people just started to talk about what if their Twitter account is hacked too. And I take an email, a DM from official account of OpenSea. They want to attach my Twitter account to my collection, and they said that they will feature my collection on their homepage. And I said that no, you are phishing me. I don't believe you. This is a joke, and I will not click the link you send me. Uh, they try to change my ideas for a while. Then okay, I will not click this link. I will go and make it from my computer, and then I make it. I made it, and see, I am on the homepage of OpenSea. Yes, it was surprising. It was surprising.
So what it was is right here where you have this picture of the
Yeah,
Cybertrans Punk
yeah. My
43. Her
collection
art
was
right
there.
up there.
My
And
collection was there and stayed there for almost 1 week.
you were totally hesitant about even clicking and responding back to them because it's the same thing. Like there was a phishing scam going on with OpenSea on that particular day and on that particular week. So you were hesitant about going on there, and then on there, and a tassel hat off to you and the hard work that you've done in the space and what you have accomplished space through storytelling, through documenting your work here. Taking your time to find those cool angles and those cool pictures. And I know in the Turkish community, the network of photographers that are there that give you accolades and are there to pat you on the back just shows your true range within your own smaller community within the world, but globally within the NFT space. I mean, you're just absolutely rocking it. And through the storytelling. We're going to transition to some of our other guests here, but we do have some minting going on. Like tomorrow you have your whitelist minting for your upcoming project, and then you're also doing some bundling for
My
June.
will be open on 8th June. And public sale will open on 14 June. I'm sending pre-sale bundles tomorrow. We can actually announce here because many people wants to learn what's happening, what's coming up.
Give us the alpha. Give us the alpha. Give us the alpha. Well,
Yes,
first, you're going to have to definitely stay tuned into her Twitter handle. Make sure you're following there. Man, 46,000 followers. You are crushing it. And we're scrolling down, and then we're seeing June 14th, historic project right here. All right, I'm talking less. You're talking more now.
yes. That project will be one of my signature projects. My code project is coming, actually. It will be edition, 25 photos, 15 editions. I want to open window for women photographers because we are facing many difficulties and obstacles, especially in my country and all over the world as photographer. I want to show people if you want something and work something so much, you can change something and be successful, and also change something in markets. Take attention to power of documentary photography, and also want to welcome to many successful documentary photographers from Web 2 to Web 3. I hope we will success on this.
Well, you've been successful. I'm seeing all the successful people that have retweeted and liked, just the historic project, and kind of I like having it like iced over like that. So you don't fully know what it is, still leaving some pieces to discover on it, but just through you are able to tell stories through your photography, capture those on chain, and get those minted out to people who cherish them and hold it in their wallets. I love to see it, and your work through travel photography and documenting is just continues, because we're continuing to document your story live action right now, and you're continuing to move on to other pieces. And a lot of this is just to help tell the story of others, and that's very similar to what I have near and dear to myself as well. So thank you for coming on this Sunday Funday. I know you're busy. If you have other things you have to do, feel free. But if you have any other questions for any of our other guests, we're going to bring on another guest right now. And we're going to talk some Meta Watches NFTs right now. How we doing?
I'm fine. Great to be here. Nice. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, we were just looking at photography. Now we are going to be changing our eyes to definitely watches right here. Maybe it's time for me to upgrade my digital style, because I was using different watches. I'm using an AR filter right here. I'm seeing some similar technology. Tell us what we have going on.
Yeah, we are Meta Watches. We are basically the first real Web3 native watch brand. And we are trying to bring not only functional watches to OpenSea, where you can see your watch ticking and moving and displaying the current time for your specific time zone. We also want to bring those watches to different spaces, like the real world with smart watches, and also on your smartphone and on your lock screen, you can view your watches as a smart widget here. We also made those AR filters, which I find quite a fitting connection to you, where you will be able to see your watches working with fully functional hands, as you can see in the video here, in Snap filters and also in Zoom meetings. We also want to bring them to the wall, so not only for wrists. You can hang your watches on your wall, and also possibly in metaverses. And yeah, we want to bring the character of your own unique watch to as many containers as possible where watches can be displayed.
It's all about branding. It's all about taking your image to the next level. I have a physical mask right there on top of a Wookiee suit. I have an AR filter mask right here. I have a digital display screen that has my NFTs on it. I walk around dressed like my NFT. And that's what it's about, is be able to do that. And I do see limitations in digital outlets for where you can put different screens of your NFTs on there. Yeah, you can transfer it and maybe into a watch, but there's limitations on that. Where here, it seems like you're trying to branch it into like the meta digital world, where you can, or the metaphysical world, where you can have it digitally and physically and in the metaverse. So, that's totally right up my alley. That you're checking off all the check marks here. And then right here, I'm seeing it as a widget, because I know my widget is pretty boring on there, just a normal whatever digital scrolling screen right there. But is that an actual screenshot of what your product is when it's deployed?
Yes, those smart widgets for your smartphone is an app which is available right now in the App Store for iOS and for Android smartphones. You can download it there and put your unique watch on your home screen or your lock screen, and it's a functional watch. It's not just an image; it's your current time.
That's right, functional. And you can see right here, Discord, they have a lot of messages to pick up on, 303 unanswered Discord messages. So you got to get in the Discord, because it's hopping, it's popping. People are in there. They're checking these watches out. And I see you're posting this on TikTok. So, you got different social media outlets, and that's what it is. It's about presenting and selling yourself, because why not be able to use an AR filter like that, and you're asking what time it is, and then you can have your image right on there. If it's maybe a crypto Novohead, maybe if it's photography that you just bought off of our prior guest. So it's really neat and cool seeing this going through there.
And we also don't want to just put out our own original watches. We see our watches as kind of a canvas for creativity. For example, artists or photographers even, or
In 2020, the world witnessed its first pandemic.
Sorry, there was a mess up in the sound here.
Quite all right. When an echo, not a problem. It happens all the time. So you're able, go back to it. You're able to put your own uniqueness on this, your own personal stamp.
with other artists, photographers, or NFT communities where we can create special limited collection watches where those creative people use our watches or our great technology for their creativity to display their art. And we are quite stoked to start a few partnerships which are in the pipelines right now. And looking for other people, especially also artists, photographers, to bring some creativity and fun to the people here in the NFT space.
I mean, I'm imagining right now, like when you wake up, whenever your alarm goes, it gives you a different good GM, like we're seeing right there, and then all of a sudden it's lunchtime, and then maybe, it pulls up a picture of whatever, your digital family. So
we have the freedom to be as creative as possible. And for example, our GM collection, which you have been showing right now, has a zombie watch, and there is a glitching effect where the image is shaking just in the nighttime when the zombies arrive. So we can do all kinds of fun with our watches. And also we did some MFR watches for the MFR project as a derivative project. And at 4:20 p.m. there is a spinning smoke effect for obvious reasons. So
obvious reasons. What are you talking about? What happens at 4:20? It's usually 4:21 is when the smoke comes coming out. But yeah, I get it. I pick up on it. And you know what? You're playing to cultures. You're playing to different, different communities and different cultures when you're doing that. I saw an alien, an ape, and a zombie. I almost saw an alien and a zombie in there. We just need an ape. You can do different time frames from different times from around the world. And it's just, it's cool. It's fun. It keeps my creative juices going of how you can interact with something as simple as time, which is great.
And also one great question, maybe to end it here. What time is it in the metaverse? You can't really tell, because for me, it's now 4 p.m. And for you, it's in the morning, I think. And I find it quite interesting to think about what happens when we all get in the metaverse in the digital space. Everyone is from a different time zone. So what time is it really in the metaverse? You can't really tell. So
that brings up a great point, because our guests are global, from Turkey, which is an 8-hour difference. So like I'm saying good morning, but she's like maybe getting ready for supper time or dinner time. And that brings up a very interesting point. And just in the beginning of my show, I was walking around through the Novoverse, and it's not set up yet, but there is a casino in there. And as we all know, there's never a watch or a clock in a casino. I mean, why would they want to bring a time association to time? Because they want to keep you in there as long as possible. Well, the same is in the metaverse. Sometimes you get caught up in a metaverse party and the DJ is going, and you've sat in the metaverse for 3 or 4 hours. So I want to personally explore with you is maybe how we can get one of these clocks or watches going in the Novoverse. I do have a moon tower, but we can easily turn that into a clock tower. And
maybe, you have to think about it, about time in reverse. Maybe the watches don't display the current time, but the remaining time until a certain event, So it's more kind of a countdown where everyone gets a feeling for how long do I have until the event starts.
Till the event starts, or almost like a sundial, where it's going to be the same on the international dateline, international timeline in Greenwich, and how we can build into that. I mean, this spurs a ton of thought in my mind, and it's cool because it's just like it's kind of just based around time and the time space continuum. And like I often feel that the Web3 space is like dog ears, where it's a 7-to-1 ratio, where every 1 minute is equal to 7 minutes somewhere else. And if you miss a day in the NFT space, it's like missing a week.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
So I mean, like it baffles me how time can do that. I mean, I want to say what's up to Barry Sutton for listening. Thank you, GM Holly, also for listening and chiming in like always. We have some returning listeners and some new listeners. Thank you for joining the discussion. We were on with famed photographer before. We're on with some new ideas where we're watching out for these meta watches. And tell you the truth, I'm kind of surprised you got that Twitter handle. I mean, Meta Watches at Meta Watches. I don't know if you had to buy that. You don't have to disclose any of that. But like when I was looking at, like, how does someone not own that like prior and just have that prior? I mean, heads up for that. Thinking of that, that's pretty dope.
I think we got lucky there.
Well, luck plays a lot into it. Timing. I think the timing is everything. There we go. There's a good play on words. And here I am on the OpenSea account right here. Floor price is at 0.08. Your item listed, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Is that the items listed?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the supply.
And I always look at whenever the clock. It seems like I always look at the like that. Like my wife sometimes says, "Oh, it's 11:11 again." I always view at the clock. It's always 3:11 when I look at the clock, and it's always 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's just because that's what my mindset. 467 owners. Man, you got a ton of volume in there. So you can check it out on OpenSea, but make sure you're clicking on the proper link. And both of those links, which I love, are properly associated. 1, Discord right in the bio, and 2, within the web link attachment on the on their Twitter handle. So just like perfect, organized there. How about the meaning behind the PFP that you have image here? Is there a hiding meaning behind the moose antlers, deer antlers, wildlife antlers?
Yes, I mean, we started with the watches which you just displayed, our analog summer collection, with wristband watches, and we have another collection coming up with different kinds of watches. And we are based in Germany, and the animal is kind of a hint to that. There's a certain place in Germany where they make very specific kinds of watches with a crazy mechanic. So that might be a little hint of our next collection, which is
dropping Easter eggs. I love it. Dropping Easter eggs. I'm fascinated. I'm interested. Just like anything else, I like telling stories. I like presenting stories. So I'll be watching out for this story. You're invited back anytime with these AR filters. I love it. I also want to chat maybe off air about how we can maybe pull this into Decentraland and into the metaverse there, and how we can just start, I don't know, plotting what time looks like in an alternate reality in some sense, where we can see what it is. And maybe we can build a clock tower there and base some advertising and because I mean we're all in it together. I have 2 moon towers there. I don't think I need 2 moon towers. I could put a clock tower in there and we can jump through space and time together. So cool stuff. Awesome. I greatly appreciate it. And feel free. I know you're busy. I know in Germany, it's probably like a 5-hour difference from here in Chicago. So if you got other things you got to do, feel free to do it. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas, feel free to chime in. But I'm going to pivot.
I see how long I can stick around, but I have some family stuff going on, so I might tune out soon. Thanks for having me again. It was great.
Anytime and always. It's a Sunday fun day for me here in Chicago. I usually go at night because the kids are usually playing around, and they're usually downstairs in the basement where the office is, which is pretty much me on top of a washer and dryer with a bed sheet behind me. And I guess the cool thing is I do have a digital frame, but I get it. It's family first, and it's always family first. Another person I want to bring into the family who's been a close family member to me is Tony Herrera, and he put me on the eyes to David. Is it David Bencini? I don't want
to. It's Bianchi.
Bianchi. I'm way off because my last name is Crypto Novo. People destroy it all the time, so that's why it's just abbreviated to Novo. And welcome. And I'm totally into the healing approach of what audio sound waves can do. We have a poetic journey across the human senses and whole wide range of what an NFT can bring through sound, through visuals. And there's a lot to, what either relaxes the mind, what stimulates the mind, or what attracts people to cool things. And this looks like it touches a lot of things on it. And when the alpha comes through saying, you better check this out. Yeah, I better check this out. And I'm lucky enough to get you here live. Thank you for being patient here on this Sunday fun day. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you're bringing to the NFT space.
Sure. I appreciate you taking the time. Shout out to Non-Fungible Tony. So I entered the space. I minted my first NFT in March 2021. I created the first ever award-winning spoken word film as an NFT, and it's our genre I created called Spinema, spinning cinema through spoken word. That piece was acquired by Metacoven and Metapurse. They're widely known for acquiring the $69 million Beeple. And at that point, in an unprecedented move, I donated 100% of those proceeds to the George Floyd Memorial Foundation. And since then, I've done a lot of great activations. Have been curated at Art Basel, the LA Art Show. Have sold out on Super Rare. Have had the pleasure to be collected by the likes of Pranksy, Mondoir, G Money, Keith Grossman, some pretty smart and sophisticated people in the space. And I've dedicated my artistic endeavors in the crypto space to creating art that has some sort of social impact that touches to the human condition. I donated a lot of money to nonprofits that are associated with subject matter that I discuss. And so I preface that so that you know where I come from. In the real world, I'm an actor and a filmmaker. And so I've got a deep background in media, multimedia artistry, etc. And so I was inspired about 9 months ago to write some poems that were uplifting, because much of my work as a poet, and having minted 3 spoken word films that focus on racism and injustice, overpopulated prisons, and a lot of societal issues, I also realized that in the space, we don't pause very much. You know, we're always very, very go, go, go. And so I wanted to create a collection of poems that not only touch the human condition, but were uplifting. So that was the beginning of Senses. And I started writing 100 poems that are inspired by the 5 human senses. And that was the beginning of the journey. And so since then, I have developed these poems and developed a project, and I'm working with Async Music Blueprints, and they're also helping produce the drop. And so this Thursday, June 9th, we will mint, and I'm really excited about it. So what makes this project unique is that not only is it based on 100 original poems that I wrote, we recorded my voice, and from the waveform, the recording of my voice, we removed mathematical data and used that mathematical data to inspire the code that created the fractal art. And so Dogan Demir, who's also from Turkey, he's my lead artist, and he created incredible psychedelic art that is informed from data from recordings of my voice. I also had a great collaboration with producer Please and Thank You, and he produced 15 tracks that are in the solfeggio frequencies, which are frequencies that are known to connect to the mind, body, and spirit, and also heal the chakras. And so each NFT is a audio poetry layer. You have a audio healing layer, and then you've got 8 fractal layers of generative art. So it is the first ever audio visual poetic healing generative art collection to ever hit the blockchain.
Based off of what created the poetry, which is so cool that you're saying in there where, you know, the art is actually generated from the poetry. So like, you know, what you're seeing within the motions there is linked to words, sounds, algorithms that all create peace and harmony, which is a very important thing in this space. We talked about how fast time goes. Well, sometimes you got to slow down.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And if you look at that, like that beautiful piece of art there, I mean, that is all informed from various data sets. And those data sets are informed from data from the recordings of my voice, as we said earlier. So 5% of the supply are going to be what you see there, which are legendary NFTs, and then 95% of the supply are these beautiful sort of static portraits, and each one will have its own audio layer, and as I mentioned, poetry layer as well. Another cool little component, and there's an example of one of the static portraits. One of the beautiful components about this too is anyone who acquires one of these tokens, I will transfer the commercial exploitation rights of the written poetry. So whoever has one can republish, can resell, and you basically, you know, have the commercial rights to my written words. So I'm really, really excited about it. Working with some pretty big thought leaders. We're doing a dedicated metaverse experience with spatial.io. So token holders will have access to a beautiful audiovisual sound bath experience in the metaverse with a guided meditation. And we're doing an IRL activation at Consensus, which will be the first ever in real life experience where we're going to have Reiki healers, It'll be led by a guided meditation and an opportunity where people will hear the music, see the imagery, and then it will be a live poetry reading where people can escape through this literally this audio visual healing experience.
I've had poetry on very early with Roxanne Darling, David Russo from New York with audio visual poetry as well. I love the aspect that you're doing where you're giving people the rights and ownerships to your written verbal work. I use warp sounds in the beginning of my broadcast because it's an NFT, same thing that they own, that you have the rights to, and you're living to giving right now. I mean, a lot of it's like philanthropic work where you're crushing it, you're making sales, but then you're giving back to community or communities to help almost what you're preaching, just to like maybe give some people some peace and freedom and maybe some room, you know, even if it is financially, even if it is art. There's multiple aspects of it. I mean, there's people who are buying this to relax and chill with it. There's people who are buying it to help others, and there's people that are attached to the project that are getting helped by it. It seems like you have a ton of people, like you're networked extremely well throughout all this. And it seems like you're using what you've maybe in your Web 2.0 experience to really solidify what you want to do now that the Web 3.0 space can incorporate and gives outlets like this.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And I, since I've been involved in NFTs, and look, I've been completely headfirst since March 2021. I am so immersed and I love everything about our community. Like everything that I do is somehow related to the blockchain, even in my Hollywood conversations. Like I talk to actors nowadays, and if they're not talking blockchain in the first 10 minutes, I tap out. It's hilarious. And, but to your point about the collection, it's like everything is so delicately connected. I mean, the art is sophisticated, the music is sophisticated, the poetry is sophisticated. It's really a high art collection that I think will tap into the mind, body, and spirit. So look, if you're out there and you just want to, sweep the floor and flip and trade, come on in. If you come in and you just like, hey, I love this art and I want to be a part of this experience, then come on in. If you love the music, if you love the poetry, then come on in. There's components in this collection for everyone because the volume of the collection is 1,000 pieces. So there's definitely opportunity for everyone to find their piece in this collection, as it were. And I'm really, really excited about it. Also to push the boundaries of the technology, right? And change the perception of what an NFT is, that it doesn't have to be, a static image of the animal of the week, that we can do more with expansive art.
Ain't that the truth? Because there is so much more to it. And it did start with a crypto punk where it is a static image, but now it's turning into layering of contracts to helping others to express formats, to bring your friends along too. I mean, you're not doing this by yourself, where you are having, people that you probably associated in the past, people that you're learning about their technology now to enhance what you're trying to create, what you have created.
Yeah, and none of this would be possible if it weren't for Async Music Blueprints. This is a new technology that they're rolling out that's going to be available to everyone here, I think, in the next coming weeks. We're the first 3 projects to roll out. And so the Music Blueprints is an evolution of their Blueprints technology that did the Xcopy drop, the Colby drop, and the A Lot of Money drop. So this is an evolution of that technology just with a music layer. And it's really, really cool, man. I think that, moving forward, NFTs are going to become more audio visual because we are technologists. And so we want multiple layers within the art that we collect if we can have it. And so it just makes perfect sense. And I'm really excited to see how people collect the work, because if you look at the collection, every single sense is a different color with different fractal layers. So white, for example, is touch because we reach to touch the sky. Blue is sight because the most beautiful thing we see is the sky. And pink right there, for example, is taste because our taste buds are pink. Green is sound because I feel that the most beautiful thing we hear is Mother Nature. So everything is very, very connected and very thoughtful and taken into consideration.
And and a lot of this is very science-based nowadays, where there is, science behind all of this, science behind colors, the use of light. And I know for, even outside of normal school settings, maybe in alternative school settings where students might have an audio visual learning impairment, where like these things are totally helping them understand, relate, sometimes relax, sometimes get energy from.
Absolutely. And you nailed it because, color psychology is a very, very real thing. And I have found in my experience with this collection is that every single time that I recite a poem and people hear the words and they experience it, they just pause. And I wrote these poems from a perspective of obviously from my own, but I wrote it from a perspective of trying to give everybody an opportunity to just think about themselves and think about where they are in this complicated world and, just tap in. And so I tried to create a sort of general palette with the language. My job as a poet is to tell stories through words and create images through words. And that's hopefully what I've been able to do. And if we got some time, I'll read maybe one or two of these poems and you can get a sense of the energy.
I was just gonna say, when you read poetry, you say people pause. I've had people read poetry on my show live before, and every time there is just a silence afterwards, and it's not an awkward silence. It's like a silence of awe. Like it's like your body, brain, your spirit is digesting it still, and it's like having a moment of silence just for yourself. Yes, I would be blessed if you can read some poetry. I don't want to put you on the spot. If you have a
So yeah, no, I love it. By the way, I gotta give you a mad shout out to the Chewy in the background. That's fire, bro.
my son picked that out. That was actually his onesie when he was a lot younger. He picked out my CryptoPunk and he picked out what I wear. I have the same onesie as an adult size. I don't think I'm gonna grow out of it, but he picks out the NFTs. That's a physical mask that I first wore when I went into in real life events and didn't want to dox myself. He picked out my CryptoPunk. So this is a family affair. So I'm
Nice
all
one,
about
man.
it.
Nice one. And so for anybody that's out there too about the collection, it's 1,000 pieces. We're minting on June 9th, which is Thursday. And I want to give a shout out to the community here and actually offer some allow lists to listeners. So maybe we can do, 5, 10 allow spots to your community. And just as a thank you for people that are listening and that are supporting, fine art in the crypto space. The mint price is 0.15 and the allow list will be starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and go till 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, and then it will go to public sale.
Woo! I mean, I love it. If you want to incorporate me in on it, I would love to have one. We can live mint it if you want to.
Yeah,
But
throw me your wallet, brother.
I also want to make sure people listening have the opportunity over me because I've been very blessed, and I want to make sure that other people have opportunities over I. So make sure we're taking care of others. So if anyone else wants to do the live minting, I can broadcast it. I don't care.
Well, speaking of live minting, what's great about the async platform is that when you mint, it actually shows the layers revealing in real time. It's a really cool tool that they have. And,
fun.
and there's a hidden layer on every NFT, which is a 1080 by 1080 poetry card in typewriter font that actually shows you how I intend the poetry to be presented.
Oh, that's cool. So then you could see like the punctuations, the pauses, the breaks, the
exactly
piecing on it. Oh, it almost helps you how to read it a little bit when you're actually reading it. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Let me do a test here. Let me know if you hear this. Do you hear that?
I do not right now.
Okay, because it's coming through. Let me change my audio sourcing here.
The shout out we're sending up there.
Do you hear that?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna run it through my studio monitors and then through my mic. So let's give this a shot. All right, great. So Novo, I'll let you decide. You pick a sense.
I want to be able to smell something through what you're reading to me through the screen digitally. So now, is there a color I should be looking at right now as you're playing this? Green was earth.
So for smell will be the sort of red and orange hue.
Red and orange.
So that's actually a great slide that you have on there. Like if you see there you go, you can go there and there. So that lower left is the red and orange. But if you see that slide that's in the upper right-hand corner, you can actually see the collection. There's a great example there. There you go. Lovely. So what we'll do is, since it's morning time and you're in Chicago and I'm in LA, and I just had some Joe, we'll go here. So let's pick instrumental number 8, and we'll start here. The smell of coffee in the morning really brings me to life. Maybe it's the expectation of the caffeine burst, the knowing that the day is beginning, the looking forward to the events ahead. An optimistic mug, shiny and glossy. Cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, coffee.
I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna put that on a morning breakfast commercial, and I'm gonna bank a whole bunch of money because I smelled that and felt that right through this. It honestly warmed me up. Like I felt it.
As it should, man. And as you can see, like the tone of these they're all introspective and uplifting. None of this is polarizing. It's all designed to just, give you a visual.
That and like, yeah, you can tell that you've had some acting lessons in your time. Like you pulled out your almost James Earl Jones voice, that good groggy morning voice. That was perfect. I mean,
Thanks, man.
It's like rolling out of bed. I think my wife just left to go get some coffee right now as you said that. She heard you from across the room.
So we'll do one more. Let's go with I'll let you choose. So we just did taste.
Well, I'm gonna spend some time outside today. So let's hit up some greenery here and let's travel outside a little bit.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. I'll do something. This is fun. This one's a fun one. So here we go. This is sound number 7, and I'll do it to instrumental number 12. An operatic voice, concerts that rock, hip-hop classics harmonizing doo-wop, a funky jazz tune, and pop music hits. The scratch of a fingernail on a mean guitar riff. Let the classical music play. Let the new music shine. We sent it to outer space because it's the stamp of mankind.
Ape Fest coming to NYC and an NFT NYC soon. We got it. Got the drops. I mean, and that's like the pliability that you can do with that, where you can pick up an NFT like this and be able to use it in multiple forms. You can use the poetry off of it. You can use the art off of it. You can use the motion of the art of it. You can play it off of each other. You can just use the words too. I mean, that's the other thing is like, there's different combinations of wordage that you can use in there.
Yeah, I'm glad that you see that, and it's an exciting collection. I think crypto, what's dope about this is that, like, from a collector's perspective, we usually just collect on the visual tip. We'll look at something and say, oh, I love the art on this. I'm going to go with this one out of the collection. Where this one, Novo, you'll go on there and be like, I love this art, but this poem speaks differently to me.
Yep.
So it's going to create a different dynamic. Or I love this music, this poetry is okay, but that art's better. So maybe you end up collecting, multiples because there's just different experiences that they give you.
And that's what's so cool about this NFT space is art is in the eye of the beholder, and there could be different quote unquote attributes or attribute class you relate to. And this is multi-tiered where the attributes within it reaches the 5 different senses. I mean, you can just go from a taste sense, and if you like organic earthy taste, you can relate to that. If you have a spicy taste, more of a palate for something spicy, you can relate to that. But then you can flip the switch to visual. You can flip the switch to feeling, like a lot of sensory feeling types of things that happen in meditation, or mind, body, and spirit. We're actually maybe physically feeling things, but also mentally trying to establish a relationship with other senses in your body. So, I mean, this is right up there with everything.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you see all that. We're gonna eventually make the 6 cents. So token holders on the 5 cents will have access to the 6 cents, which will be. I'm already thinking like what the art would be. I'm thinking like Rafiq Anadol, sort of like Horsehead Nebulae, XR integrated, and really trying to push the tech, man.
You got to. I mean, and that's the whole thing, is that 6 cents can be established in the metaverse where anything can happen, and you could pretty much do almost anything with how VR headsets are lined up, to something as simple as Decentraland, or, United States of Mars, where it's 2D. So, I mean, there's tons of things out there where you can display your NFTs, support different NFTs. And that's the other thing: actor, filmmaker, multimedia. But you know what? Living is giving, and you're doing that. You're spreading the word through spoken word cinema and helping others, not only express their own means of art, but express their own means of communication. And there's multiple facets behind that. And that's just not a simple image anymore.
Yeah, it's not easy to describe what I do, man. And despite the fact that I've made a career as an actor and as a filmmaker, I'm an artist first. I remember in second grade I painted my first painting. I think my mother still has it framed on her wall somewhere. And I was speaking poetry before I knew how to write. I just like the percussion of words, the cadence of words. I grew up in the boom of hip hop. So, the idea of cat hat, this, that, baseball bat, like just that energy. And then that got me into slam poetry. So I'm an artist first. It just happened to, performance is in my blood, so being an actor was a transition. But when I found Web3, I was like, wow, this is powerful stuff. And I've been completely head first, and I'm not going anywhere.
Well, these airwaves are open. I can think of 5 or 6 poets off the top of my head that I've had on my show. Blondish is another one that does sound therapy as well. And so, man, I'm thinking of just like a poetry jam night, something like that. And, we can maybe find a day or a time. I have Monster Mondays, Sunday Fun Days, find a time where we can get like-minded individuals to help progress the space in this, because this is really cool. This interests me. And this is actually like very relaxing for me too, to actually sit down and talk more of a nuance behind the project. And I know there's a lot of animal projects out there. I get it. I know there's derivatives, but this makes sense. Pun intended. It makes a lot of sense. And for like running around and going crazy and knowing that I have things to do today, you know what? I have things to do that are family based, that are outside based, and it kind of just put things into perspective. Like, hey, you know what? I do get to spend the morning hanging out with cool, like-minded individuals in the NFT space, and I get to spend the afternoon with my family that are turning products of their own environment with, they're sporting NFT shirts now and talking about it. So, man, you got some cool stuff here. David, have you on? We're gonna have to chat more about how we can broadcast this more, because I mean, this is easy content that I enjoy. Just having poetry jams. I've had Ape Productions, Spotty Wi-Fi, where they're doing rap battles, rap contests, stuff like that are out there. And why not just have a poetry jam? This is really cool.
All about that life, man. And I appreciate the amplification, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm all about people that, I want this collection to be in people's hands that really admire it and really enjoy it for what it is. And I appreciate you, man. And shout out to Tony Herrera for connecting us.
Non-fungible Tony. David, if you got time, or I'm going to probably wrap this up in the next minute or two, but hang out in the green room, because I do have a couple questions about what you're doing. And
I got you, bro. I'm here. I'll hang.
You as well. But make sure you're following the project. Man, you guys, I got a ton of followers. I got to get more followers here, but I'm following you guys because you guys are leading me to the cool stuff. Reach out, if you're interested and maybe you're a part of the broadcast listening today, and you maybe want to get into the process, reach out to them. Reach out in social media so others can see it, and show that love. Retweet, send it to a friend, get that spoken word out there. And yeah, I mean, you got Friday or Thursday.
Yeah. This Thursday we're minting.
Just like anyone, you might not know this, but I always see people at their best and their worst and it's at the same time when they're minting, but they're stressed because they got a lot going on. So Get some sleep leading up to it. Don't stress about it, and we'll have you back on and get some of your fans on, and we'll see what they minted and what they got, and maybe have them do some of the readings that they own in their own wallets.
That's the fun stuff. That's the stuff that is really exciting. And I really enjoyed, I think, Dilek, your conversation on photography, and Dogan Demir, who's my lead artist, he's also Turkish. But yeah, I applaud you from a social conscious perspective, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, yeah, there is the glamour side of photography, but then there's also the human side of the world. So I applaud you for doing that.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a great honor for me to hear this. Also, I want to take attention to the difficulties that women face, because it's not easy to be a woman in the world. Also, especially if you are living in a conservative country like mine.
It is. You're putting up the fight. You're walking into danger to show it. I mean, I couldn't even fathom doing that. The first thing I wanted to be is furthest away from a hospital during that time. You went in there, guns a-blazing, put yourself, family at risk to show what's going on out there. And like you're saying, in a country that might have different standards than what we have here in the United States, keep up the good work. Keep up the lovely work. I love having you guys on. We'll have you both on again because it's about storytelling, and we're going to keep telling these stories because, believe it or not, we're helping people. I'm helping people every day put their projects out there and hopefully be a means of communications and networking. David Bianchi is putting it out there so people can take a deep breath over things, and then obviously seeing things through a photographic lens, you can see more. That's why the NFT is a global language. You can reach many, many peoples. You don't even need to speak at all. Sometimes you don't even need to be able to listen at all. You can be sensory deprivative and still be able to enjoy the space because NFTs reach all the senses, including the sixth sense, which we've heard here today. For all my aliens, apes, and zombies, I want you to get out there on this Sunday fun day and enjoy that sun if it's shining above your heads. Lovely for everyone listening. I know Sunday mornings are difficult because I try to reserve those Sundays for family time, but we're going to have to revisit these Sundays a little bit more because you guys are having fun with me. My family's in the background. They're still having fun listening to me. And until then, this is Crypto Novo saying stay positive and love life. Peace.
Let's go.
Get some outro music here from Warp Sounds.